Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day, no matter where you are in this beautiful world. Before we get started with today's video, just want to tell everybody we're at 20,900 subscribers. We're almost to 21,000. I think we got about another 74 and we hit it. We're on the road to 30,000 and I want to thank you guys so much. I also want to remind you that you can become a member to the channel right here on eBuzz Central for just 99 cents a month. The MVP, VIP, and Pro versions will be completely gone at the end of the month, and all those perks are going to drop down to the eBuzz Central member. It's a great way to support the channel, and of course, a great way to support content you like. Also, if you haven't had a chance to look at my previous 4 videos, there's a lot of great information in there. My last video was Linux commands, things that you should know if you're new to Linux, or commands you should know if you've been on Linux for a while. Also, Microsoft continues its attack on open source, just to look at what's going on with the Copilot and Chat GPT AI. And then, of course, the best way to Office, a Linux tutorial, only Office Part 1, which is an introduction. This is the beginning of a 12-video series that I'm doing. The next video will drop tomorrow. And then under the radar Linux distros. But what I want to talk about today is a Debian distro that has done some tweaks and changes to make it easier to run it on newer hardware. And that would be MX Linux. MX Linux is probably one of the most popular distributions out there today. But what you run into, especially if you're using Debian stable as a base, sometimes it doesn't run so well on newer hardware. Well, MX has changed that up a little bit. Let's zip on over here to download. And if you go to downloads, it lets you know right here they got their flagship, which is XFCE. You've got MX21.3 64-bit that you can get for, of course, your 64-bit machines. And then you've got the MX21.3, which has got the 32-bit PAE kernel, which you can use on 32-bit machines. And they've also released MX21.3 X64 AHS. This stands for Advanced Hardware Support. It's pronounced Oz. And it's made for very recent hardware. It's got the 6.0 kernel, and it works with newer graphics drivers and firmware. And it works for all users, but especially those that use the AMD Ryzen, AMD Radeon RX graphics, or 9th, 10th, and 11th generation Intel hardware. So if you're somebody that has tried to run MX in the past, or you've tried to run Debian in the past, the stable versions, and you've had issue on newer hardware, all you have to do is zip on over to the download and download one that has the AHS or Oz kernel, and you should be good to go. So what we're going to do real quick is go ahead and get on over to the desktop. And if you download MX Linux, throw it on a USB or open it up in a virtual machine, this is the screen you're met with. It lets you know right here, you've got a nice little welcome screen. This is MX21.3 Wildflower. And you've got install MX Linux, frequently asked questions, user manual, wiki, tools, tweak, forums, videos, contribute, popular apps, and tour. And then down here, if you're using it in a demo mode, it's got user demo, password demo. Now, if you want to go to super user, it would be root. And then, of course, password would be root. Let's go ahead and close out of the updates. We don't need to see those. Now, if you wanted to install MX Linux, you would just click right here and the MX Linux installer would pop up. We're not going to be able to go through this because, of course, I am in a virtual machine. But it lets you know on the installer right here. It's an independent Linux distro based on Debian stable, and it uses components from Mepis Linux, which are released under an Apache free license, and Mepis components have been modified for MX Linux. And then you could go over here to next, and you could select the type of installation if you wanted to do a custom layout, or you could use a regular if you wanted to, but because I'm in a virtual, it's not going to give me that option. Then you could choose your partitions right here, and it would say a root partition is required. And then, of course, you would just put in your username and password, and it would install on your system. So I'm going to close out of that. And then you've got frequently asked questions, tools. If you open up MX Tools, this right here is one of the reasons a lot of people use MX Linux, is because it gives you a lot of tools out of the box to do things. And I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger so you can see it. You've got a USB kernel updater, USB maker, remaster CC, snapshot, if you want to take a quick snapshot of your system, chroot, disk manager, job scheduler, NVIDIA driver installer, about, you've got a tour. So there's a lot of things that if you need to get done, you can do right here in MX Tools. You've got a Deb installer, which is Debian software. If you download a Deb package from online, You can use the deb installer to install that package. And then you've got a package installer and then, of course, repo manager. Let's go ahead and click on that. And we're going to go ahead and put demo as the password. And what you can do is you can come over here. And one of the reasons I like this is because you can click on like audio. And you can go down here and let's say you wanted Audacious and Audacity. You could pick both of those and then go to the next. You can pretty much pick out whatever software you want that is listed right here. You can go down and select them all. And then once you're done, you can come over here and click install and it would install them all at the same time. Makes things easy and simple for you. Not all packages are in there, but it does make your initial setup a lot easier than a lot of other distros. Then it'll come over here, it'll show you what your stable repos are. Those got to update real quick, and there's everything available in the stable repos. And then your test repo, it'll go ahead and populate that, and all of these are tests. So you might have issues with these, so I'd be careful with those. Then, of course, you've got Debian backports. And these refresh really quick. You've seen me do different reviews of different distros, and when you go in to update this part of the system, it usually takes a while. With MX, it goes pretty quick. And then, of course, you've got your flat packs. Now, like any other Linux distro, if you have issues with flat packs, it's not on the distro itself. It's going to fall back on FlatHub. So I wouldn't suggest if you downloaded a flat pack or and install it and it doesn't work to go into the MX forums because it's not their responsibility. If you have issues with a flat pack on a distribution, zip on over to FlatHub's forum and take your problems there. They'll be able to fix it a lot quicker for you than a Debian forum would. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. And then you can come back over. You've got quick system info, formatted USB, iDevice. If you're using an iPhone or iPad, you can sync it right here with the system. And there's just a lot of tools in here. So I suggest if you take a look at MX, you definitely take a look at MX tools. So let's go ahead and close out of that. And then, of course, you've got the tweaks. You can come over here. You can adjust your panels, your theme, compositor, display. And I'll close out of that. Forums, videos, contribute, popular apps, and tour. So let's go ahead and close out of this. And as you can see, this is MX Linux. Now, I do like the conky that they have up here, but what I do really like that they've changed, on some of their older releases, this would be a lighter background. And when you looked at the conky, it was hard to see. But with the darker background, it makes it a lot easier to work with and see what's going on. Right here, it says the hard disk drive's at 6%, memory's at 16, and the CPU's at 0. And then you've got, of course, your date and time up there. Now, you do have a panel over here. It is XFCE. You've got Firefox as your primary web browser. And then, of course, you've got Thunar File Manager. I do like the theme that they're using here. I like the blue with the red accents. But Thunar's a lightweight file manager, stays out of your way. Usual suspects over here, home folders right here. And then we can come down a little further. You've got sound, clipboard, internet, your package manager, unmount, computer. And then, of course, you've got your applications menu down here. Let's go ahead and click on that. And if you come over here, what we will do is we will look at all applications. You've got About Me, About MX Linux. And you've got a long list of different things down here that you can utilize to make your work easy on MX Linux. Now, what I want to do is right-click on the screen right here. You've got your applications up here as well, so you don't always have to go down here to get to your applications. You can, of course, find them up here as well. Now, what we're going to look at real quick is Synaptic Package Manager. This is where you would come if you would want to install software on your system. Now, this is a type, search, and install application, so pretty much all you would have to do is go up here and type in something like Krita, and it would bring Krita up right here. You would just click on that, mark it for installation, mark all the dependencies. These are dependencies that application needs. Go ahead and mark those for installation. Then you could come to another search for like Kden Live. Go ahead and bring it up, and you can come up here, click on it, mark it for installation, mark all the dependencies. And once you have all the software selected that you want to install, just come up here, click apply, and it would install those all for you at the same time. So it's pretty simple to use. I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. So if we come back down here and you go up here and you type in software, we just looked at Synaptic. If you wanted to go with the MX package installer, type in demo. If you look, that's the same thing that we saw on the welcome screen. So that's the two ways you're definitely going to be able to install software here. Or if you should go online, download a deb package. What I do want to do is I'm not going to go through all the software on here because there is a lot of software on here. I want to go ahead and bring up the terminal. Let's go ahead and make that bigger. I want to see if they have HTOP. They do have HTOP. Let's make that a little bigger so you can see at home. And right now it shows that we're using about 1.26 gigabytes of the 7.7 gigabytes I have issued in memory. It's not too bad. We are in a virtual machine, so you are going to run a little bit heavier on memory. I think once you get this installed and you're good to go, you won't have any issues at all. I think you'll run somewhere between 600 and 800 megs, which is really good, especially if you're using older hardware. But on newer hardware, this system will just fly. And with the AHS kernel, it's going to make compatibility amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. And another thing I want to look at is close window. I guess I should have just cleared that. We can go back over to the terminal and see if they have NeoFetch. And they do have NeoFetch. Let's go ahead and make that a little bigger. And as you can see, it's running kernel 6.0.0-6MX-AMD64. So that right there gives you the AHS or Advanced Hardware Support or the Oz kernel. We're running on an AMD Ryzen 9 and virtual machine SVGA. So let's go ahead and close out of that. And we will right click again. Desktop settings. Let's go ahead and pull that up. You've got different backgrounds you can choose from here. Let's try that one. I do like that. That looks kind of nice. But you've got a great variety of backgrounds here. You know, it's a great MX Linux release. You can change your menus up. You can adjust your icon. So I'm not going to go through everything XFCE can do because you guys have seen it before. But I think what this is going to do is people that love running Debian stable, but they have newer hardware, sometimes run into the problem where keyboards on laptops won't work, or Wi-Fi cards won't work, or maybe you've got a newer system and you're having issues with your graphics card. MX Linux with the AHS Advanced Hardware Support Oz kernel is going to make things really easy for you. So, what do you think? Is this something you might go download, throw on a USB, and take for a test drive? If it is, let me know in the comments below. Or hey, maybe you're somebody that's already using MX and you've got great feedback on the AHS kernel. If you do, please come on back. Tell me. Let me know. All of my viewers want to know how everything's going with you. Drop that in the comments below. Do me a favor before you leave today. Please like the channel. Likes keep me in YouTube's algorithm, which means if you found the information in this video helpful, somebody else out there might as well. And subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. And if you end up not liking me, you can always unsubscribe. You also can become a member right here on YouTube for just 99 cents a month. But that's not all. We are also on Utreon, which you can become a member on at $2.99 a month, or Odyssey, which is $4 a month. You can also buy us a cup of coffee, maybe zip on over to PayPal and throw us a donation, or go over to Patreon and become a patron to the channel. All those links will be in the description below. As always, thank you for watching my video, and I will see you in the next video.